Hi, Mark here, trust you're well. I'd like to share my number one tip for Lightroom Classic photographers. And being the start of 2024, I feel it's a prominent time to share this tip again with you. Now, I'm a big culprit of this, taking loads and loads of photographs, but not getting rid of them. And I'd like to show my workflow in how can I reduce the amount of photographs in my catalogue. And this year I've set myself a task that by the end of 2024 I will have probably 90% of my catalogue as my keepers. So what does that mean? I have over 450,000 images currently in Lightroom Classic, and they're not all keepers. We've taken 10-15 shots of a bird flying through the scene. We've taken 5 or 6 images of a car going around a racing track, entering and exiting the corner. Do we need those? That's a decision that you'll have to take. However, I am trying just to keep my keepers. And I do this by culling using the pick and the flags. And I'd like to show you how I do that. Now, before I do it, I'd like to tell you about my Lightroom support group that I host most Monday evenings, 7 PM UK time, live on Zoom, where we look each semester at a theme. So we're currently looking at the library module, and within each evening we look at a task, a question. How can we do this? What workflow supports your photography? And we do that for a whole semester on a module. So if that interests you, just jump across to learnlightroom.co.uk/support, and I hope that you'd like to come and join us one Monday evening live on Zoom, 7 PM UK time. Now, without any further ado, let's jump across to Lightroom Classic. So here I am, I'm in Lightroom Classic. This is my training catalogue. It's got about 500 images in there. Some of them are legacy raw files of mine. Some of them are stock images that I have a license to use. Now, the first thing I need to do is identify the images that I want to cull. Now, in my other videos on YouTube, I've talked about why we should use collections and not folders. Folders are where we store the image, the actual file. Collections are our working images. And we can have a multitude of versions of images within collections rather than having multiples of files. But that's for my other video in my YouTube playlist. I'll put a link in the description to it. So I'm going to go and find the images that I want to cull across the whole of my catalogue, and that's really important because it doesn't matter where you have stored the actual file itself. Where is it linked to in the Classic catalogue? Where is it linked to on whatever drive? So let's go into my collections panel. So here I am, collections. I'm going to press plus and I'm going to create a new smart collection. And it doesn't matter what you call the title, it's something for you. It's a working smart collection. It's something that you'll adjust every time you go through a phase of your catalogue, your period of culling. So let's just call it to sort. Okay. And I want to give this smart collection a parameter. What is it going to look for? Now, for me, I'm looking for a unique identifier, something that I can look in the whole of my collection for all of those images. And for me, a unique identifier is date. Date and time, because you can't duplicate date and time. So it's a great way of finding duplicates across the whole catalogue. But I want to cull my images. So what I do is I set a date range. So we come into the drop down and we go and find date, capture time, that's the important bit. And on the second column, we select a range. So there we go, in a range. And we put a start date and an end date. Now it doesn't matter what the start date is and what the end date is, as long as you don't miss dates. So it could be a whole year. So what we're going to do is we're just going to click into the first field and I'm going to put 2022 0101. So it's going to start looking in the whole of my catalogue for images taken from the 1st of January 2021, and we're going to make it easy. So we're going to now go to December the 31st 2021. And the reason why we do this is it's looking everywhere. It's not looking in a particular folder, it's just looking across the whole of my catalogue for all my images. And I just go create, and here we go. In this date range to sort, I've got 161 images. I've got sky images, I've got cat images, I've got images that I've taken on one of my photography adventures. As you can see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 images here that are the same. And again, on the next one, I've got 3 images that are the same again. How do I know this the same? Because I've expanded view turned on my cell. That's another video. I'll put the link in the descriptions to show you how to do expanded cell. And this is the file name. And if I check the file name, 290, 290, 290, and this one's 290, but it's been edited twice outside of Lightroom. It's been edited in Photoshop. But this is a JPEG file. So is it a low-res file? Don't know. Yes, I do. It's 45 megabytes. But the original file is 45 megabytes. So I've got a duplicate. There's the original. There's a virtual copy. There's a JPEG. There's a JPEG. We can regenerate JPEGs. So why in those 2 images? That's 100 megabytes there. Why have I got them? I can regenerate those JPEG files. So this is what I do now. I've identified images in that date range that perhaps I don't want to keep. So what I now do is I sort by date. So I go to my metadata. In the first view, I change this column to date, and it puts them all in date order. So I can go now to March the 14th. This is an infomercial from a colleague of mine. I want to keep that. It's all about Lightroom. Let's go to the 3rd. There's 3 here of dates. And because this is across my whole catalogue, I can see what I was doing, where I was, what images I've got. And I've got 3 images of cat, all taken on those dates. That's fine. There's no duplicates there. And I can just go through by clicking on the dates. These are some stock images, clicking on the dates again. Here we go. So now I can look at the expanded view and say this is a DNG, so that's a raw file. This is a virtual copy because it's turned over in the corner. This is a JPEG. So now I start using flags. So X to reject. X to reject this again. This is a JPEG. Okay, so I don't want these anymore because they're duplicates. Don't like them, don't want them. I'm going to remove them at some point in my workflow. This image here is 66. This image here is 66. This image here is 66. But this image is a JPEG, 35 megabyte JPEG. Well, I can regenerate that JPEG. So don't need that. So we go X, remove that one. This one is a virtual copy. We can see this is the original because it's got no turn corner. This is a virtual copy. So I have just saved 130 megabytes of storage on my drives. But just as importantly, I've actually saved the wear and tear on the drive, the read and write, when I remove these or delete these from my catalogue. So I now will just go back and close the dates. So I'm going to June, and here's a load of images here. This is a panoramic. Now, this is a part of my workflow, identifying where an image starts, where it finishes. I don't need these images anymore. Just X them. I've reject them. X this one. X this one. Don't need these images anymore. So I've just saved again. 45, 45, 45, 45, 200 meg. These are the actual panoramic. I want to keep these. So I'm now going to tidy up my workflow. I'm going to go right click, and I'm going to put them into a group. So we just say, oh, it's in a collection, so I can't put them in a group. I can only do that in folders. But there's the actual panoramic. And then we come down the screen. And again, I've got some more fingers, so I don't need those. So I'm Xing those. And I'm going through the whole of this date range, rejecting. Now, how do I then delete those? Well, I have to delete, which is different from remove. Remove is when you remove them from a catalogue, and you can, from a collection. You can only remove from a collection, not a smart collection. So I want to delete those images. So I have to go to folders now. Click in my folders. I go to my date structure. There's my images. I go Command or Control Delete on my keyboard, and it says, do I want to delete those images? Yes, I'm going to delete them from the disk. They're now deleted. So what I'm now doing is I'm getting rid of these images that I don't want, but I'm methodically going through the dates of capture across the whole of my catalogue, not in a folder location. And that's my tip, is do we want these hundreds of thousands of images that we've collected over years? I know I was emotionally attached to every single photograph I took. But I've now started to be a little bit more seasoned with my images, and actually, if I don't like it, I will sit on it for a few weeks and then I'll delete it. So in my workflow, I will go XXX, return back to that folder a few weeks later, and I will delete those images then. So it's not an immediate reaction to do I like it, don't I like it. I put a little pause in there. And that's my tip for you for 2024. We're emotionally attached to these images, but let's clean out our catalogue, because we don't need hundreds of thousands of images. They're not all keepers. I hope that helps you. There's more videos like this on my YouTube channel, Lightroom Mark. Wishing you all the best for 2024. Take care. Stay safe. Bye for now.